I'm getting really close to 40, only a few more months. And I've noticed something interesting happening over the last few years. I don't necessarily want to look 20 again. I don't think that's even my goal. I know it's not, but I do want to take care of the skin that I have. I want to make my skin keep looking healthy if I can. I want it hydrated. I want it bright. I want to preserve what I have for as long as I reasonably can. And I think that's a really important difference between being afraid of aging and taking care of yourself as you age. Because aging, well, it just isn't something that I'm going to try to defeat. That would not be a good idea at all. I'm just also not interested in neglecting myself while I'm doing it, right? Like trying to live life. So today I want to show you one of the things that I've been using as part of that process. But we're also going to talk about something much bigger. What actually happens to our skin as we approach 40 and what we can realistically do about it. So, there are things about my face now that weren't there when I was 25. My skin, it doesn't always bounce back quite as quickly. I can see changes around my eyes. And when I say bounce back, even something as simple as if I lay on my pillowcase wrong at night, it leaves like a weird wrinkle like in my face, and it can take hours to go away if I haven't been doing my appropriate treatment and keeping myself hydrated. So I noticed that the texture is a little bit different. And sometimes my skin looks more tired. Sometimes makeup, it doesn't even sit the way that it used to. I've had to experiment and try different types. And I could look at all of that and think, "Mm, I'm just getting so old." And I have. I promise you. I have said it. I have been there. I have. But I've also started to look at it differently because my face has been with me through almost 40 years of life. Pregnancies, motherhood, stress, acne as a teenager. Oh, I remember the days. It was awful. Weight changes and then illness. I have multiple sclerosis. I have gone through some things, my friends, but I've also experienced healing and laughing and crying and staying up too late and getting up too early. Oh my gosh, today was back to school day. And I have to make a confession. I feel so bad. It's the first time ever that I forgot to get first day back to school pictures. Ugh. I have 7 kids and 4 of them have already flown the nest because they're adults. But the younger three are in 11th grade, and then the youngest two are in 8th grade. So 2 middle schoolers and 1 senior, and nobody said anything. They didn't remind me. Ugh, those little stinkers. So that's a whole side note, and it has nothing to do with this video. I'm getting back on track now. So what were we talking about? Oh, I said staying up too late and getting up too early because confession during summer break, I slept in plenty of days. So now we got to get back in the habit. Ugh. But maybe the goal with caring for myself and my skin is not to erase every sign that I've lived. I think that's just no. That would be ridiculous. Maybe the goal instead is to take really good care of the skin that's carried me through all of it so far. So, what actually happens to the skin as we age? Here's where skincare becomes really interesting. Our skin isn't static. it changes throughout our lives. And as we age, some of the processes responsible for keeping skin looking firm and hydrated and resilient begin changing. So collagen production changes. Elastin, like within your skin, changes. And our skin can hold moisture still, but it can become different, not as effective. Cell turnover can slow. So, like that exfoliation of your skin coming off and replacing itself, it just takes a little bit longer. Environmental exposure accumulates over time and can damage the skin and the cells as they replicate. So that does make a difference. Sun exposure matters. Smoking matters. Nutrition, it definitely matters. I'm a certified health coach and nutritionist, and I believe nutrition matters. Okay, but also sleep, stress, like how you're able to manage it or not, it's going to have an impact and it matters. Your hormonal changes over time, those have an impact as well. And yes, what we put on our skin matters so much too. Not because a jar of skincare can stop aging, it can't, but good skincare can support the skin barrier. It's going to improve hydration and protect the skin from additional damage that you just sometimes can't avoid. So it's going to help the skin look and feel healthier, right? That's a much more realistic promise. And honestly, I like realistic promises. So I want to talk about JAFRA and why I still use JAFRA. If you're new here, there's something you need to understand about why I'm talking about JAFRA. This isn't a company I discovered last month on social media. JAFRA has been in my family for decades. My mom has used JAFRA for around 50 years. I just confirmed with her a few days ago. It's actually 49 years, but we're going to say 50. And my sister Angel has used it as well for years, her whole life really. And I've used it, I'm going to say about 30 years because I've used it since childhood. And when I started this series, I wasn't looking around the internet asking about skincare or what skincare company can I sell. It was actually almost the opposite. I realized, wait a minute, why isn't anybody talking about the skincare that I've been using practically my entire life? And that's what started this journey because I already have my YouTube channel, URworthitHealth, and the channel is focused on general health, but our skincare is a huge part of that. So that's what started this journey. And I wanted to go back, like look at the products more closely with adult eyes. You know, I've just had them in my home, on my counter, in my mother's bathroom. And I wanted to make these videos and really look at the ingredients and learn about what I'm actually putting on my face and document what happens when I become more intentional about caring for my skin as I approach 40 instead of just kind of grabbing whatever I happen to get from my mom. I'm intentionally trying to use the whole system and the products that are designed for me specifically right now. So let's talk about what I'm using today. I'm not going to go over all the products, but one of my favorites is the Jafra Royal Defy 4D Defining Hydrator. Yeah, it looks like this. I need to, can you see it? Okay, I will put it in the comments below if it's hard to see what it is. But rather than just simply telling you why I love this and that you should buy it, also, just so you know, I will put my mom's consultant link in the description below if you are interested in looking at Jafra or the products or learning more or you want to order your own. which you should, of course, right? But if you want to, I'm not yet signed up, but my mom is. Her name is Patricia Bergstrom. And like I said, her link will be down in the description below. But I want to do something different throughout this series. I want to understand the products and what they're actually supposed to do. Like what's in it, why would someone use it, and where does it fit into a routine? Most importantly, does my skin actually look or feel different when I use it consistently? Because that's the part I'm interested in, and I'm trying to be better. So let's take a look at it. I just want you to see the texture because this is one of my favorites. This is what it looks like. It's a white, creamy paste like you would imagine, and it is a very thick type of creamy moisturizer, if that makes sense. You know, one of the things I'm paying much more attention to now is how a product actually feels on my skin. Does it absorb or does it just sit on top? Like those are important things. When you're trying to choose a skincare regimen, you want to know, does it feel greasy? Does my skin feel softer afterward? You should pay attention to these things when you're using the product. And also, does it work underneath makeup? Because you can have the most impressive ingredient list in the world, but if you hate using the product, you're probably not going to use it consistently. And consistency is really where skincare gets interesting. But this moisturizer, I want you to know it is very thick. It feels very creamy. I can even now, I've put it on the top of my hands, um, and I can still feel it. It does take just a little bit to absorb. So I put this on and I use it under my makeup. You can see not really much, right? There's no greasy film. There's no oily residue that it's caused. So it absorbs really well. But when I use it, I do, like I said, I put it on and then I give it just a little bit. Honestly, I will sometimes put it on and then fix my hair and then put makeup on, but not always. If you just give it about 30 seconds to a minute, it absorbs. Like even now, it's already gone. And I can feel that it has absorbed and created a nice, soft, moisturizing layer on top of my hands, which I don't normally use it on my hands. I put it on my face, but it does feel really nice and has created kind of a nice, smooth texture. You can kind of see it. So very good. All right. So as I was saying, you do need to have consistency with your skincare. Honestly, it's the same problem I have with vitamins, and this actually connects to something else I've been talking about recently. I just started the vitamin project, and one of the things I talked about was how difficult consistency can be. You can own the vitamins, you can own the skincare, you can own the workout equipment. Well, you know what? I have to clean out my garage because I had my husband set up an in the garage gym for me. You know how many times I've used it? Not once. Not even once, my friends. Ugh. It's August. Oh my gosh, I'm not going to tell you. He put it, yeah, it was spring. He set it up in the spring. And now it's covered in like dust and grass from the lawnmower being parked next to it. But we're going to get it cleaned out and we're going to do it again with new goals and new efforts. So this is my point. Even though I'm teaching you about skincare and I'm teaching you about health and vitamins, I want you to know I'm human too. We're all trying and we all really, we make efforts and endeavors that we intend to do and sometimes we fail. But I know I have also started other good things, right? And I'm not going to beat myself up about it because you can own all the things and not do it and then get mad at yourself. Or you can just start using it. You can own the healthy food, you can own the workout equipment and the skincare products and the vitamins. But owning something is not going to give you a result. You know this. I know this. Let's acknowledge it and let's embrace it. What do we got to do? We know if we want a result, we have to use the stuff. And I do. Like I said, I struggle with consistency. There are nights when I am tired. There are nights when washing my face just sounds like an enormous amount of work. And even just this last week, there were a couple evenings I used a face wipe and all I did was put on one moisturizer. Actually, I used this one. It was the Defy Active Firming Serum, which I do really like this one if you just need a quick, lightweight moisturizer. Sorry, I should show you instead of taking it off the camera. That does no good. But you can remove the lid and it just has a little bit of a pump. See? It squirts out like so, and it rubs in really nice. It's a very lightweight, pleasant moisturizer that absorbs easily. And I like this one if you're just not feeling up to your skincare regimen for the night and you just have to get your makeup off and you want to feel a little bit of relief. This one is wonderful. I really, really like it a lot. It's not just that it helps me look nicer. You're going to bed. I get it. But it helps feel better. Like, I'm not even joking. I'm not even exaggerating. Even if all you do is wipe off your makeup, say you don't have any on, great. Okay. Do a little splash of water if you want to and put this on. It will feel like just like a drink of water, but for your whole face. It feels very refreshing. It's cool. It's comfortable. You're going to like it. Anyways, back to what I was saying. There are nights like when I do use this and mornings when I'm rushing. And that's why when I said in the morning, if I'm just going to use one thing, it's this one that we talked about first. That's just real life, my friends. So part of this royal journey isn't me standing here pretending that I've discovered the perfect skincare routine. It's me learning to become more consistent about caring for myself. Now let's talk about beauty versus vanity. We're gonna. And this is where I think well, let's just acknowledge that beauty gets misunderstood sometimes, especially for women. We're given these two extremes. One message says, your appearance, ugh, it's everything. Buy more, fix more, change more. Never age, never wrinkle, never look tired. And man, it's just, can you? Like, honestly, ooh, I know of a couple women that I feel like never age. I wonder if I'm allowed to mention a famous person on here. I won't say a name, but a couple of the judges on Shark Tank. Have you seen those women? Like, what in the world? A couple of those ladies, I just think, I'm not even sure how old they are, but because of how successful they are, I know they have to be older than 30 and they look like they're 30. Like, it's crazy. But if we're not able to accomplish whatever it is they've accomplished because they must have like a fairy godmother, like something. I don't know. Most of us, though, are not going to never age. It's just not fair to expect ourselves to never wrinkle or to never look tired. Guys, I look tired all the time. When I get on camera, I have washed my face, done my makeup. I have a special light right here. It gives me good lighting, right? And I try to like sit in a way that is flattering, right? I look tired all the time. It happens. It's not fair to think that I'm never going to be tired or never look it. All right. Sometimes though, we can hear the opposite, like appearance doesn't matter at all. Like, don't be so vain. Don't be so, right? And I don't think either extreme is healthy. It's really not. Like, I don't think that my worth comes from my face. But I also don't think that caring for my face is meaningless. There's something beautiful about stewardship, taking care of what you've been given. All right, I want to talk about Esther in preparation because I love Esther. I have the myrtle tree tattooed to my arm because I love the story of Hadassah in the Bible. Hadassah was Esther's Hebrew name. Um, I've been thinking about Esther a lot throughout this journey. And I actually, something about Esther's story that's always fascinated me is the period of preparation before she went before the king. She was prepared. There was physical preparation. There was beauty, like that had to be prepped. Like, I'm trying to think of another word for it because if she was taken into the king's, you know, selection process, that she was already pretty, right? She wouldn't have been brought to the selection process if she wasn't. There was beauty there. And there was a preparation that she went through that included oils and fragrances. But when you read the whole story, Esther's power wasn't ultimately her appearance. It came down to her courage, her wisdom, her willingness to act, her faith, her beauty. It was a part of the preparation. It wasn't the source of her worth. There were lots of beautiful girls that were there that were going to be put before the king. It wasn't the source of Esther's worth. There was something more. And I think there's something there for us to learn. Taking care of yourself. It doesn't have to mean worshiping your appearance. It can simply mean this body has been entrusted to me, and I'm going to care for it. Can you do that with yours? You only have the one body, right? It's the one you're in right now. Now, keep in mind, I don't want to be 20 again. And maybe this sounds strange in a skincare video, but I don't want to be 20 again. I really don't. There are things that I know now that I didn't know then. There are things that I've survived. There are things I've learned. And there are people I love now who weren't even part of my world then. I've become more comfortable with who I am. So I don't want skincare to become a desperate attempt to travel backward in time. I want it to be part of moving forward well. I want to arrive at 40. My birthday's coming up in April, and I want to embrace it with excitement. And then 50, and then 60, and then 70, and hopefully much further. Taking care of myself along the journey. What I'm watching during this series is, it's why I'm documenting this, is I want us to actually watch my skincare over time. Not one magical before and after picture, Not perfect lighting one day and then terrible lighting the next, but real changes. I'm watching how hydrated my skin looks, especially going into winter, because right now we're mid-August. It's August 12th, and it's still summer, but we will be transitioning, obviously, as we always do. And I want to see how my skin hydration appears as I'm consistently moisturizing every day throughout the winter versus in the past where I would do it sometimes, but not always every day. So I want to see how my makeup applies and whether I'm noticing any irritation or just whatever, right? I want to pay attention to whether I'm actually consistent enough to give these products a fair chance. I'm going to be honest because that's the experiment. I'm going to be using each of these products, but I will definitely be using the Royal Jafra Defy 4D Defining Hydrator, the one I was talking about at the beginning. And I'll be using it just a little bit. It only takes a little bit. This bottle can last for quite a while. Um, Tiny bit, like a pea-size amount, just do a little blob, 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 and rub it in. It's super easy. There's if you get the whole system, there's multiple steps and multiple products, but you can make it as complicated or as easy as you want and you feel that you're capable of doing on a consistent basis. And you could do like I talked about earlier, where you don't feel you could do each step every morning and night. That's okay. Just maybe do this one at night and this one in the morning or vice versa. If you love how your makeup goes on with this one, you just need to experiment, but give it a fair chance. I just got into a little bit of a debate. That's the polite word for argument with your teenage daughter, my 13-year-old, because she was frustrated with her skincare product that she had gotten her dad to buy for her. Um, and she wanted it. She had seen some ads about it. And so she's trying it and she's breaking out and she doesn't really like it. And she didn't want to keep using it. But I told her, you've got to keep using it to give it a fair chance. And her response was, I have. When I asked though, she says all summer, but I know it's only been a couple weeks. You know how moms and teen brains don't always align with how long something's been going. But my point to this side story is she has to use it for more than a couple weeks to know if this product is really going to help her or not. When you're using these new products, Jafra, I would recommend you give it at least a month of consistent daily use, right? Consistent before you make a judgment. Honestly, though, I've only been consistent for really not long. I have a video. I need to look and double check, but maybe 10 days. And I am noticing a difference already. I can feel a difference, see a difference. So I think if you start to use it and you use it every day, especially morning and night, you'll probably notice the difference within a couple days. But I don't want to make an unrealistic promise. Okay, so what I'm looking for when I'm using the products and sharing it for you isn't necessarily going to be, well, I was going to say the immediate results, but kind of it will because I'm going to tell you about how the products feel like I did with these two. But then over the long term, we'll see like the actual impact that it's having. One thing I want to promise you throughout this series is that I'm not going to tell you something worked simply because I wanted it to work. If I love something, I'll tell you. If I don't notice much of a difference, I'm going to tell you that too. And if something just doesn't work well for my skin, you're going to hear that too. I've been calling this my royal journey because I like to think of Esther and, it just is what it is. And that connects beautifully with Jafra Royal Jelly. So, it's the Royal Jelly line and I love Esther, but it's starting to mean something more to me. It's becoming like a journey of learning, like how to care for myself differently as I enter this next decade. Not because I'm afraid of getting older, because I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I get to. That's it's a privilege. And I want to enter this next season healthy, confident, and taking better care of myself. Being a better caretaker of the woman that I've become. And I want you to think about something. When was the last time you did something specifically to care for you, just for yourself? Not because someone else needed you, not because the house needed you, not because your children needed something, not because your spouse needed something. We can love our spouse. I love my husband. It's all good. And you can take care of them. But what about you? Because you are worth caring for. Maybe tonight it's skincare. Maybe it's drinking some water. Maybe it's taking the vitamins you've been forgetting. Maybe it's going to bed a little bit earlier. It doesn't have to be dramatic. So that's episode 4 of this journey. We're going to keep testing. We're going to keep learning. We're going to talk about ingredients. We're going to talk about aging skin. We're going to talk about what actually works and what's mostly just marketing. And I'm going to keep showing you my real skin along the way. If you're approaching 40 or 50 or 60, or you're simply realizing that you'd like to start taking better care of yourself, I hope you'll come along with me. And if you're curious about JAFRA, like I said earlier, I'll leave the link to my mom's JAFRA site below. She's been using these products for around 50 years. And right now, that's where I'm directing anyone who wants to order. There is absolutely no pressure here to buy anything. You can simply come along for the experiment and watch my videos. I would love to have you here. Subscribe if you'd like to follow the royal journey and see what happens to my skin over time. Honestly, I feel like JAFRA has been good to me. It has been good for my skin. I told you, I'm going to be 40 in April. My friends, I don't want to sound like conceited, but like I feel like it's worked well for me. Like I feel like I'm doing pretty good. Like I do have some forehead wrinkles I'd like to improve. I have all of these when I smile. But I am almost 40. I've lived life. And I think for the life that I've lived and all that my skin has experienced, JAFRA has been my friend and has been good for me and my mom and my sister. So subscribe, like I said, if you'd like. And remember, taking care of your beauty doesn't have to mean being afraid of aging. Sometimes it simply means being grateful enough for the life you've been given to take care of yourself while you're living it. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for being here.